Welcome to a new Haptic Composer tutorial. We will see today how to design haptics for car sounds. We will design a haptics for these sounds: a burnout, a car crash, and a car engine. First of all, remember to download the Haptic Composer from www.interhaptics.com. You can download the asset used in this tutorial by downloading the samples. Let's start for a car engine. We'll save it in our tutorial desktop and start. The perception here, which is a vibration, and as usual, we start for a sound to design our haptics. Let's import our audio. Let's locate it and import a car engine. We see the envelope of our sound here. So this is the imported sound. Let's extract audio and haptics. So at the beginning, we have a rumbly feeling of the engine, and at the end, we have that is accelerated, goes away. So at this stage, as we see, this is our extracted haptics. So we have the transients, the frequency, and the amplitude. Let's check first our amplitude. So let's hide the transient and hide the frequency. So at the beginning, we have this low rumbly feeling that we see relatively well here with the audio. So this peaks. So it works really well to follow up with the haptics, the audio at this stage, because this wobbling feeling is something that is really low frequency and the user can really feel. However, our haptics motor have hard time to generate such a strong feeling. So one proposal is to recreate, based on the envelope, this kind of feeling and modulate it with the existing frequency. Let's go here. I will accelerate a little bit to help you to visualize the results. After this stage, we have the car which drives away. So we see here the envelope of the intensity of the sound. I would propose to use this as a guidelines to design the haptics, because at this stage we are not representing anymore the low frequency rumbling feeling that you get while waiting for this massive engine to develop, but it's more like a modulation of higher pitch frequency that helps you to visualize this effect. And there is also some related fade out haptics. So the car is going away from you, and the sound is getting lower intensity and lower frequency, and it works relatively well if we use the haptics with this fade out. You see this amplitude going down. Let's check now the frequency. The frequency at this stage, we see well that our algorithms picked up a relatively low frequency at the beginning, around 40 Hz, right? That is picks up well this low frequency rumbling. So at the iPhone minimum is 60, but we can leave it at 40, and our algorithms will pick it up by itself. And we see the frequency of the rest of the haptics that picks up and go higher, as we were discussed before. So to make it more effective, or at least more or less confusing by the user, we can create an upwards frequency when we are accelerating out from the activity. So we can go up here, going here till around 350 Hertz, and then slowly fading out by the time and reducing the frequency. It works really well to convey this Doppler effect of going away. Let's check now the transients. In this case, the transient picked up because there was a strong sound, but there is no associated event of shocks. So my suggestion would be to just remove the sound and lose the transients. Let's check it out how it is. So we have a beginning rumbling and dedicated modified amplitude. Let's save it. So this is our haptics. Let's send it to the player to test it out to see if we are happy. Okay, now that we test it out, we can go to the second material, because burnout. Let's save it. Let's go. Another vibration and import the sound. Burnout feels like this. Okay, we can see well on our envelope that we have an initial part with the low rumbling, but the key part of the interaction is the wheels squeaking, right? Let's see what our system does. So our algorithms picked up really well this haptic squeaking and the background vibration. So let's go and edit it out. So one thing about transient is that they can be quite, if you test it out straightforward, it becomes quite rumbly. But at the usage of for this case, what we wanted to be sure that we are really aligned is that we are enhancing what? We are enhancing the first wave or the first hit of the sound, so that our haptics is simulating this, this small acceleration that you get when the wheel is squeaking. And what you don't want is to have the transient all have the same height. Otherwise, what you picked up is basically the frequency. So my suggestions in this case to enhance this physical interaction would be to determine a transient at each wavefront here that we see really well, the envelope extraction that we have in our algorithms, and modulate a little bit the amplitudes to not be picked up as as a frequency modulation, as a continuous beat. So we add the transient over here, and we make it relatively decrease over time, so that we have this fading away effect. So this, you see that this really helps us time it really well, so you can test it out with the app. Let's check now the amplitude. The amplitude, due to the fact that this is high frequency pitch, our amplitude extraction is more like on the low frequencies. What we do want is to support this build-up here of the car sound to initiate this transient effect. But during the transient, we can leave it really low as it is. We don't have to change anything. And similarly, when it fades away, we can help it out by giving them a small fade out. We can even increase it a little bit to generate this fade out effect. And we can save it. Let's check the frequency now. The frequency, what's going on with the frequency? We are at quite high frequency at the beginning because the noise is revving up. It's a bit modulated by the sound. On the transient, we have the transient, we take the ownership, the amplitude goes down, and at the end, a low frequency. So I think we can leave it like this. Let's save it. Let's test it. Okay, so we test it out, and it seems that it makes sense how it has been designed. Right now, we go with the third haptic effect, which is called car crash. Save it in the tutorial. Let's add a perception, which is vibration, and as well, let's check out how our haptics and sound looks like. Let's hear the sound. Okay, let's extract our haptics and sound and see how we can do it from there. So we hear the sound having the first squeak and then the huge crash. So from haptic point of view, the squeezing and sliding doesn't have a lot of associated expected feeling. However, the car crash is where we should concentrate. So let's go in our audio system. At the beginning, we have this transient that comes from the squeaking. Let's remove the frequency first. That we really don't want them because it's sliding, it's generating a lot of noise, so the system picks it up, but we are not really creating haptics effect. However, we should concentrate at this stage where our haptic crash happens. We should concentrate the maximum of haptics here because this is the most impactful event during the whole haptics interaction. So we can add here transient to generate this strong effect that is associated to the sound. And then we have some nice sound of objects which are colliding with the ground. So at the end of the sound, we can go and enhance a little bit this vibration of effects which are rounding and generating a little bit of haptic movements to create the impression of having the vibrations, or at least the interaction with these objects. So this is relatively fast and easy, because at the beginning we have this overbearing sound. We can leave the vibration as it is to follow a little bit the sound, and we can use this transience to generate this shock effect, which is randomized and a bit following the crash which is going on. We check now the frequency, and go to the minimum frequency and the maximum frequency up. So the frequency is, as we see, the sound is really high frequency at the beginning. We can leave it as it is. Even if it's quite high, the algorithm will renormalize by itself. So you're looking at a really high frequency. During the car crash, it's nice because the frequency drops down and it follows this modulation. Again, we can leave it as it is. And then for the object colliding, we can leave it as it is, and here is the feeling, because at the object colliding, the biggest haptics factor will be our amplitude that enhances some of these interactions. So we can save it and go and send it to the player for testing. Okay, so if you're happy with the haptic design, we can close it here. And we remind you that you can reach us in our community and download all of the assets over our website, where you can have some of these assets which are already designed, and you can start from there to create your own experiences. Thanks for listening, and see you next time.